Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I am your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to Friday's edition of this colonialism topic. Hey, African Parasite, welcome. I saw your video. That was pretty cool. But I'm going to actually bring up a video that was made about me on Kinganda's channel because I was interviewed on that channel before. And apparently, some of my statements on colonialism rubbed some people the wrong way. And I don't blame them because you see, lack of knowledge, ignorance would cause one to be upset at what is factual. Because, many people these days, they want to romanticize, something that never existed. And where did that come from? This ideology is coming from where? America. I've given you guys the example of how America operate. Majority of American ideas is not based in reality. It's based in fantasy. So you have to be a smart individual to be able to differentiate between what is real and what isn't. And most of the time you would run into people that call themselves Pan-Africanists. They say they read some books. They are not Africans. They've never been to Africa. Yes, they're African descendants. They have African descent. But because they read some books, they think they can tell you about colonialism. And they only tells you about the bad side of colonialism. And they also try to promote this idea that, Africa was united. It was this kumbaya place. All people are the same, which is in fact not true. And I'm going to get into that here today. This has always been an interest area of mine. See, I come from a tribe that, my tribe actually, when you hear about the Ghana Empire, it's not the country Ghana, it's an empire, Ghana Empire. So my tribesmen were the people that formed that empire, and they conquered, most of little kingdoms around there. So this history is in our tribe. And the good thing is, my tribe, many converted to Islam. They've been in Islam for 900 years plus now. When Islam was in its infancy, it was the first sub-Saharan tribe that translated the Arabic language, the religion, to our language. So we have records of a lot of things. So many would tell you, oh, don't believe the white man, because this is what the Pan-Africanists tell you, don't they? But the history they tell you is from the white man. Who would be the perfect individual to be able to tell you the real history of the region of Africa? More than an African who is keenly interested in it. You see, there are three types of people in this world: those who make things happen, those that it happened to, and those who don't know what happened. And unfortunately, because I see it all the time, even sometimes you would see the African panels. Unfortunately, I see why many people, when they go to these African panels, this quote unquote Pan Africanist, is more like spewing what they call lecture to these quote unquote Africans, because you cannot play a game that you have no clue about. Just like I said, America is about fantasy. So if you want to play fantasy, you cannot play fantasy more than the people that invented the fantasy. I have seen quote unquote African Pan Africanists who, by the way, would open their mouth and claim that all of Africa is the same. Some have even said, you know, all of Africa should speak Swahili. We want to transport Swahili to West Africa. But that's not colonialism, right? It is colonialism. What colonialism is, somebody coming with their ideas, looking at the ideas you have and the system you have, and they topple that and implement their own ideas and languages. As you know, that's how Africa is today. From 1884 to today, that's what Africa has been. But prior to that, what was most of Africa like? Were they united? Were they one people? The answer is a definite no. And I'm going to also talk about the advantages of European colonization. In fact, European colonization united Africa. It created countries, on a regular size that would have been just normal, small little kingdoms where people would be fighting each other, because people like to talk about the Mali Empire, the Ghana Empire, the Songhai. How do you think empires are created? You think anybody wants a foreign body to rule over them? Just take example from yourself. Why would somebody, like, you have your home, you're the head of your household. Why would you want somebody to come and be in charge of your home? You're not going to want that. So I'm about to get deep into this and break it down to people for them to understand. And also because I notice most Africans really, they don't know much about the actual history. All they know is, oh, colonialism, bad, so therefore, I can't say anything positive about it. So you think the language that we are all communicating in and understanding one another, where did that come from? The former Africa that people talk about, which I don't know what's there to talk about. See, the history of Africa spans thousands of years. Nobody knows however long, but for whatever reason, you know, um, it didn't expand enough to be able to conquer other places. That didn't happen, as we all know. And some people try to say, oh, it's because we are so altruistic, because we are good people. That is not true. Because as far as, you know what they call land conquering? Some people are land conquerors. Some do it by sea. The Europeans were able to build boats to sail across the sea and conquer foreign lands. I promise you, if Africans, especially West Africa, I know for sure my tribe, if we had the capability to do it, to build boats, I know the way we think, we would have sailed across and conquer lands. That I know for to be a fact. I know that to be a fact 100%. No ifs and buts about that. But then you have this so-called Pan-Africanists coming, you're right, Ray J, they express jealousy. It's a jealousy type that they express, and they try to delude you and I, you know, to say, oh, we are such good people. We would have, all African people are the same. We were the same group of people. We were all eating from the same bowl. Dude, that is far from the truth. The people in Mali and people in Nigeria are completely different people, not the same. I came from the Mali region, that area. So when I listen to people speak about these things, I understand they don't know what the culture really is. Because what the former Africa is, like they talk about Mansa Musa, Sunjata, most of these people, if they live during that era, at best, they would just be slaves. I'm just keeping it real. Because it was a caste system. They were warriors. They go and conquer places. And when your land is conquered, you guys resist, you become slaves. That's how they created the empires. It was no different than the Europeans or the Arabs. It was no different. They just never took boats and sailed to other places, but it was land conquering. That's what it was. No different than the Europeans. But now, let's look at the Europeans when they came to Africa, the colonization, which I spoke about. I said, because this is what I said, people were mad. I said, I believe that for some countries in Africa, the Europeans left too soon. They should have continued colonizing them. I'm not talking about where the atrocities were, places like Congo. I'm not talking about places like that, where they were enslaving the people. But some places, they needed to stay longer to continue the progress. Because when you go to some of these African countries, you would still see the colonial buildings that the white Europeans built. Those are the best buildings in the country. Nothing else have been built since the Europeans left. So the railroads you would find in some of these countries, they were built by Europeans. The school system, because obviously the Africans don't have no curriculum, because everybody have their own tribes. You think you're going to come with your own tribe language and say and tell, like my tribe, we got to speak your language and do the things the way you do it. That's not going to happen. And mind you, I don't know of any tribe in West Africa, particularly, that have a written language. See, that's important also. If you guys know, please drop it there. So when you guys speak of, even say, some people talk about Timbuktu. Oh, Timbuktu, the first university. Well, it was the Muslims that came and set up that quote unquote university. It wasn't a school where it was school of engineering or whatsoever. This was a school. They were just there to memorize, the Quran. It's a school of theology. It wasn't an actual school, something that you would use to build stuff. So I want people to lay that off. But with the statement that I made, several people have made videos, and the Kinganda crew also made videos. But everybody is in their feelings because they don't have real knowledge about what I'm saying. They just cut the Pan-Africanist disease, the Pan-Africanist bug, because you must remember, listen to the Pan-Africanists, what they are saying. Listen to them carefully. just remove the color. All you hear when you, even if you go and read books, they want to be like the European colonialists themselves. Because if I'm telling you that my ideas are the best ideas for you, so therefore everything you should let go of that and do exactly as I said. If you accept it, that means I'm colonizing you. And that's exactly what they are doing. And for most, they think, hey, you know what? Because I live in America, okay? I interact with people. And one thing I know, I'm very observant in my dealings with people, people's perceptions of certain groups of people. And to be honest with you, majority of people in America, they don't think highly of Africa. They don't think African people are smart. They think they can conquer African people easily. And you see these people make these videos all the time. So even this is why when I see the Africans that call themselves Pan-Africanist people, the black people from America and even England and other Western countries, they don't take these Africans serious. They just see them as their little token boys or girls to promote the things that they want other Africans to hear. It's no different than what the white people used to do. They come, you think white Europeans were coming to Africa and doing things just on their own? No, they have, token Africans that they put in position. These are the intermediaries. These are the people that help them, promote the agenda they're trying to go with. They're not just coming, in force, because that's not going to work. We saw, you can read the history of places like South Africa. Obviously the Africans could put up a good fight. You read the history about, Shaka Zulu, with the British. He defeated them a couple of times. The Ashantis defeated European armies, back to back. You can name several tribes that have defeated Europeans that came to colonize them. So it wasn't all through force. You have to have people, Africans themselves to be the intermediary. Just like, for example, in the Congo, yes, you're going to hear about King Leopold, all the atrocities, but who do you think were the people carrying it out? Who do you think? You think King Leopold himself flew from Belgium with his big beard over there chopping African people's hands off Congolese people? No, it was other Africans. They even have their own military called the First Republic, whom they brought in to do those things. They give them the commands, they make it happen. So that's how it worked. So these African Pan-Africanist people, when these Western Pan-Africanists listen to them, because they lecture to them and tell them, oh, Africa was one and the same, all the people were the same, until the Europeans came and divided it into pieces. But that is not true. That's not how it went. The people in the West were not aware of the people in the East. And the East people too, they were not aware of the people in the West or the South. People were not aware of each other. These are completely different people. And it's okay. It's totally okay for people to be different. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you point that out, they're like, oh no, let's talk about the similarities, but we can see the difference. So you're saying I have to completely give up my identity and just make it something that it isn't. Or you want me to tell you a complete lie, a lie that would have disadvantaged me. Today in African countries, any African, if you're a citizen of that country, depending on the constitution. Any African is not based in bloodline for you to be able to run for office. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody, anybody of age or the qualification can run for office, president or whatsoever. That's not what it used to be in old Africa. When they had empires in places or the chiefs, that's not how it was. Whatever class you are born into, everybody is assigned certain classes. You can read this across the board. That's how it was in Africa. In my region of Africa, even in my tribe, even present day as I speak to you, that caste system is still maintained even today. Till today, if somebody that belongs to the slave class, they cannot marry somebody in the nobility. But people don't want you to talk about these things. They're like, man, don't talk about the reality, but they exist. I don't want to disappoint you. A lot of the people that speak about these things, I don't want you to be disappointed saying, oh, we all Africans. You're going to go to some places. You say we're all African. They're going to say yes. But you will not be able to even marry somebody from that tribe. And even if you are like certain tribes, if you belong to certain tribe, even sharing a bowl with you is forbidden. They will not do it. They will not do it. Where do you think that tradition came from? So when colonialism, when European colonialists came, you know, eventually they came up with constitutions, their own laws. They removed the old system, which is the Africans' own system, the old system. They removed it. Then everybody became equal across the board. Because today in the Gambia, that's not what it used to be in the olden days. You have to be born. You have to be born in the ruling class of whatever little kingdom you're from for you to be able to even, you know, participate. Unless you are a fierce warrior like Askia Muhammad, who took over the Songhai. He was a general in the army, and he was able to topple, you know, Sunjata Keita, the same thing. He fought hard, you know. He had to be a fierce warrior to be able to start. He didn't start the Mali Empire. Prior to him, it was Sumanguru Conte whom he fought and toppled. So back in the days, that's how it worked. You gotta be a fierce warrior if you were not born in that bloodline for you to be able to be accepted. You have to conquer the people. So how many of these people that are talking, you know, can conquer even their own house, much more territories? There's no way. Okay. But with the things that I said, I've talked about, you know, the pros and cons of colonialism. Back when I was in Africa, back in the days, people make it seem like it's only the European language that is taught whatsoever. You have to remember, especially in my region, 500 years prior to colonialism, to European colonization, the Arabs were there prior to that. Even me, myself, that is talking to you, I never attended English, you know, preschool. Some people would call it nursery school. I went to Arabic school. Arabic school. I eventually, you know, went to English school. And in Gambia, where I come from, Sierra Leone and other places, they have Arabic schools there. That tells you that there was other forces prior to Europeans. The Arabs were there first, then the Europeans came. So you would meet people from the area where I come from. They go to Arabic school. or English school. Some would even take French. So it's not like one size fits all. So when I'm speaking, I'm not only speaking from the perspective of a Pan-Africanist who, you're born in America or England, born and raised, and you feel like you're just passionate. Oh man, I read this book about Saint Nicholas. You're like, but isn't Saint Nicholas white? No, 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 no. Oh, he black, he knows what's up. Where did he get his knowledge from? Oh, he went to Harvard. Oh, isn't that white people's school? So he never lived in Africa. He doesn't know the dynamics. So he just read some books and he's never really seen how this plays out. He doesn't understand the traditions of what Africa really was, because many people just ignore that fact. That just flies over their head. So for Africans that want to be Pan-Africanists, I want to give you the real history so you can have real talking points, so you don't go out there embarrassing yourself, making yourself look so stupid. There's no reason for you to do that. There's no reason for you to come and try to force yourself onto other people. We all get it. We are all Africans. We get it. It's like me telling people, oh, my tribe and Zulu, they're the same people. The same people. Do you know how stupid I would look? Because we're not the same. But that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. I understand that if somebody speaks Zulu in front of me, it would sound like Chinese to me. And I bet you if I speak my language in front of them, it would sound like Chinese to them. It is foreign. So when you guys say, oh, we're going to bring Swahili to West Africa or Gambia and other places, you sound stupid, because that is a foreign language. It's no different than English or French. It's no different. So you're saying, okay, black colonization is okay, because there were black people that actually colonized territories in Africa. Liberia comes to mind. Liberia is a perfect example. They have the American colonization, organization that brought the, black Americans there. And this is even prior to 1884. Mind you, prior to 1884, they brought the, you know, former slaves from the United States. Some were from Liberia was colonized. Even Ethiopia was colonized. But I'm gonna get to that. They were all colonized. When people try to say this, Ethiopia was colonized briefly, even when Haile Selassie was there. The Italians won the war. This is why Haile Selassie went on a tour to look for help for the Western countries to help him, get rid of the Italians, because the Italians, were part of the axis of evil. So they did lose the war briefly. Yes, they colonized Ethiopia for at least 2 years. They were there. Liberia, the American colonization organization brought those blacks over there. They brought the blacks over there. And some of the black people who were from the United States, some from the Caribbean, even Europe, they brought them to Liberia. And they gave them the power, the funds, from 1824 all the way to 1844. They were like, okay, fine. We brought you guys over here. We, because at the time they were the one funding. They were the one funding Liberia, the colony, because Liberia was a colony. But the overseers were black Americans who were overseeing it. So 1844, that's when they separated because the American, colonial organization was like, look, okay, we're funding this. Let's just give these people their independence. So they gave them their independence. Mind you, the interior part of Liberia were not part of this. So now these Americans, the Black Americans and these Caribbeans who came from these plantations in the Caribbean and America, they had to unite and colonize the indigenous people in Liberia. That's what happened. They had to, collaborate with each other and colonize those people. You see? So to look at even Liberia's turmoil all the way to the early 2000s, that was an ongoing thing. This is why the Talbot family, they call them the Americo-Liberians. This is why when Samuel Doe came, when he took over, he took these people, the Americo-Liberians who were in power, took them to the beach and executed them, all of them, because Talbot's plan was they wanted to do it like a lineage because the Americo-Liberians were in charge from the 1840s all the way to 1980. They were in charge of Liberia. So that brought some type of friction. I'm going to talk about that another time. But yeah, Black people can colonize too because they were trying to, what they were doing, they claim they had good intentions. They want to integrate with the indigenous people, but not based on the terms of the indigenous people because they came from America. They see the indigenous Liberians as savages, just like the Europeans saw the Africans to be at the time. So you have to remember, these people were socialized in America and the Caribbean in European standard. So their teachings and their understanding of African people and the doings of Africans, that was foreign to them. And they saw the Africans as, as savages. And yes, they oppressed the Liberians, the Kru tribe and couple of them, all those tribes that were there. Yes, the Americo-Liberians oppressed them, which is the Black Americans. Not only Black Americans, but some of them were from the Caribbean. Just like next door to Liberia, Sierra Leone, Freetown, they had people from the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean, because they used to do that. They have, people, Black people that want to go back to Africa, they would relocate them. So they put these people in charge over the local Africans. So I don't want people to make that same mistake again. This is why I said, in a way, colonization leveled the playing field. Because when the Europeans in 1884, they got together and looked at the map and decided, look, we want to own this place. We want to share this place amongst us. No African was at the table, mind you. No African was there. No African was there to say yea or nay. That wasn't the case. So Africans were not even aware. They just saw strangers that came, just as those Blacks that came to Sierra Leone and Liberia. It's no different because they were brought there by white men. Mind you, they were brought there by white men. But now, before I go any further, I am going to play a clip of a video from the Kinganda channel. They were responding to some of the things that I said about, colonization in Africa, even though they misrepresent some of the things I said. And, some people, they just go with anger. They don't want to, because I want us to have this dialogue. Most Africans don't have this type of dialogues. Most other people are preoccupied with entertainment and other stuff. That's okay. If this is not your field, you leave it for the people who are interested in these topics. So I spend lots of time thinking about this, thinking about the pros and cons. Even when I was a child in Africa, you know, we learned about colonization, but they didn't only tell us about the negative things about colonization. We had to look at the pros and the cons. And even just in my environment, I'm able to see some of the benefits of colonization. Even just understanding the culture, the actual African culture, quote unquote, because no such thing, by the way. Different ethnicities have different cultures. So I compare that to what we all know to be the same. Because for people to be the same is not just based on the way we look, it's about ideology, what we think. So before I get into that, I'm going to play the Pan Africanist song here. Audrey said, Afridamus, this topic is well boring. Well, Audrey, you better learn before you get colonized again. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to play this video here from the Kinganda. They were responding to the things I said, even though they try to misrepresent it. See, this is why, like I said, this type of topics, most Africans don't, touch on it. They are interested in other things. This is why they are easily swayed by this quote unquote Pan Africanists. Because let me tell you, these Pan Africanists, they spend their time, reading these books to a point they really think that, they think, oh man, they know what they are talking about. But it is all fantasy, it's not real. Because even the people that they say wrote these books, sometimes, like, I watch their interviews, it makes me laugh. They can only name popular tribes in West Africa, and they can't even pronounce them right. For some reason, they're obsessed with, Yoruba, but they can say Yoruba, the Yorubas, the Igbos. So as far as they are concerned, the whole of West Africa are Yoruba and Igbos. But I'm about to break it down here and respond to these, things that the Kinganda host, panelists, said about me. I'm about to play that.
To Kenganda. My name is Janita Maya, and on today's episode, we have a reaction video to the previous Afridamas StreamYard interview that was conducted by my boss Oshedi Jackson, and he said a few things that most people did not agree with. So today's guest is going to be reacting to that. He's going to be giving us his opinion, his view, and telling us, what's not right about what Afridama said or what is right about what he said. Now, today's guest could introduce himself to our viewers.
You guys remember Mishuri? You guys remember Mishuri was here? So let's hear what Mishuri is about to say about Afridamas.
So they can know a little bit about you.
Hi, hello guys. This
Hello?
is Mushiri wa Mureu. Yes, I am a Kenyan man, East African man, and I do YouTube videos also. I just recently started, so it's not like something I've done for a long time. However, I am talking more on the perspective of an African looking into the American point.
It's actually weird how my video made Kenyans and Ugandans more mad. But let's see if they can debunk the things that I said. See, it's one thing, for example, like how people, when you speak the truth, they start trying to attack you personally instead of sticking with reality. So let's hear, because I don't base things on personality. I'm just speaking about it. Oh, Audrey is trying to get with Mushiri. Well, we'll have to get the message to him, Audrey. Trying to rob the cradle here, huh?
Stuff or whatever it is they're doing socially, politically, and also relationship wise. Like my channel is mostly relationship kind of stuff mostly right now, but I do other things too. So
Oh, really? So are you like a relationship guru?
I'm not really. I'm just giving my perspective. Everybody can give a perspective on like the
Okay.
dating lifestyle, because we're all dating around here.
Okay.
So this is quote unquote a relationship experts trying to speak on Afridamas. Let them speak.
Right. Okay, so speaking of the reaction video, previously my co-host Kim and I had actually reacted to that video, and we had a few icks here and there, but people kept saying, you guys, we didn't hit the nail on the head, so that's why you're here today. You're here to direct us, to tell us what was wrong with what Afridama said.
Oh, well, there was quite a few things wrong. First of all, the idea that Rwanda had like they had beefs like all over all those years. But what he's, for me, how it sounded is like the guy does not even know what he's talking about. Because if you even look just a basic research, you will find that the Rwandese, the Hutus and the Tutsis, they're not even a different tribe. They're the same people. The only thing.
You see, this is what I'm saying. So he's from Kenya. So let's time travel back to 1994. If Hutus and Tutsis were the same people, why don't we just call all of them Hutus or Tutsis? They could literally, you could read about this. They can spot you if you're a Hutu or a Tutsi based on your names or even your looks. So this idea that they were all the same is a lot of baloney. It's not real. It's not real. People want to romanticize this. Back in 1994, let's travel and see what happened there. People were getting killed. Obviously, they didn't see each other as the same people. And they themselves, they could tell the difference. They could tell the difference. So what are you talking about?
The thing that was different about them is the social class. They were the same people, but now this guy is like making it look like it was a tribal clash. Like it was something that they had like even previous years. These are people who've been living together, existing together. The only thing that happened to them was colonization. the people who came to their country used the divide and conquer kind of thing, and they took the small differences that they had, which were like social class, like the Tutsis were like higher class and the Hutus were like lower class, and they took those things and they put it in their mentality and like exploited it to like take advantage of their
So you see what he's doing. So oh, Miko the Great said, why is it that the ones that know history aren't ignorant, are not Pan-Africanists? Yeah, you cannot know the truth and be a Pan-Africanist, because Pan-Africanists dwell in fantasy. They don't know what they're talking about. This is why most of these people, when they go to Africa, they get hit with reality. They're like, oh, the Africans are not Pan-Africanists. Hey, they're all Africans dealing with each other. There's nothing more Pan-Africanist than that. But just because I'm not with the fantasy stories that you read, doesn't mean that I'm not Pan-Africanist. Like, I'm totally fine and okay with, somebody who is of different tribe and different ethnicity than me. I have no problem with that. I would interact with them. We would do business, and that's how life goes, But they want to do it from the perspective of, oh, we are jealous of white people, so therefore we hate white people. But we want to repeat what white Europeans did. Good luck with that. So Mishuri, who is a relationship expert that Audrey have crush on, he wants to speak on this, but again, he's using the Pan-Africanist fantasy talk. He doesn't know what he's talking about, despite claiming that I'm the one that doesn't know what I'm talking about. He is not reading anything. He's not understanding what went on in Rwanda. Dude, you could literally go on YouTube. You don't even have to read big books like I do. You can literally go on YouTube and see this for yourself. It's not hidden. It's out in the open.
of their country and exploit and take resources from them.
Yeah. That's also one thing he said. He said he was kind of pointing the fact that, well, Africans were fighting amongst each other. That's why we needed colonizers to kind of come in and like stabilize the peace or something like that. And that's something I also don't agree with, honestly, because a friend of mine kind of mentioned that the France was a little bit responsible for what happened in Rwanda, but I'm going to do more research about that.
Have you guys noticed the Africans are also adopting the Pan-Africanist talking point? Zero accountability. So you want to tell me that the people in Rwanda, they are not smart enough? So the French people told them, you know what? Hey, Hutu and Tutsi, you guys should kill each other. And then they did it. This is funny because, for me, especially, a lot of these things, I imagined it, even like not just imagining it, I've lived it. Lived it. When I was a child, people, I have experienced civil war. Have you guys seen Blood Diamond? That movie over there in Sierra Leone? I used to live there. I used to live there, till I was about 10 years old. I used to live there. I've witnessed, that atrocity, all that, many of the killings and stuff. I have seen war. You think it was white people that I saw shooting and killing black people? That's not what I saw. So that's why I am more realistic. I am more realistic about the things I speak of. And I don't operate in terms of, oh, this person is good or bad. No, I look at human beings as humans. I know things can change very quickly, because I've seen it happen right in front of my eyes. In the morning, the man that was a good man, by evening, he has an AK-47 killing other people. So let's not play these games. They don't need no white man to tell them this. If the hate already exists in you, the desire is within you, you will do it. But these people are, you can sit in the comfort of your home and just fantasize and tell yourself all these things. And you notice the things they say, if you think deep about it, so you're pretty much saying, oh, the Africans are not smart enough. Africans, are dumb. Anybody can just influence them. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're trying to say? You can't just sit there and say that. I understand. I understand some will say, oh, the Europeans some Europeans supplied the guns. But is this all Europeans? This is European governments. European governments or corporations that are doing this. It's not their citizens. They don't know what's going on in that corner of Africa. They have no idea. So let's continue.
That's what I'm not
The
saying.
the Germans, the Belgians, I think the French too, but they had a big role. Like, you see, if you're the same, like, I don't know, Rwanda, how many tribes do you guys have in Rwanda?
In Rwanda, this is
I mean,
Uganda.
in Uganda, I'm sorry. In
Oh,
Uganda.
over 50 years.
Over 50, like,
yeah.
And those countries, those tribes have been pre-existing, like they have been coexisting together for so many years, even before. But
these tribes were still fighting. In most of Africa, the big tribes you see, they were at war. The Europeans, when the European colonizers came, they disarmed these tribes. And a lot of the beefs that they didn't settle, when the Europeans left, this is that those beefs, they had to settle these scores. This is why you see in Africa, after colonization in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s, it was a hotbed, especially in West Africa. It's like you lit a fire. The AK-47 was king. People were killing each other because the ancient wars were not completely over. The Europeans put a stop to it. When they left, those who have beefs with each other had to finish up where they left off at. Okay? Eye movement. How is Thomas Sowell received in the USA? Well, logical people receive him well, but your regular black person or Pan-Africanist would call him a coon. But smart people know that he's a smart man. They don't like what he says. Mamizi said, oh, Africans are manipulated. So Mamizi, you're saying Africans are not smart? Is that what you're telling me? Someone can manipulate you to kill your fellow man? Is that what you're telling me? Come on now.
yes, they did have some conflicts before, but the conflicts were not as big as the Europeans were able to make them. They came in and used the divide and conquer kind of thing to separate us, and so that they can exploit us. Because there's no way you can exploit a united country or.
What these people don't understand is, if those places were united like the countries that we know today to be, if they were united like that, there's no way they would have been colonized. Okay? For even Europeans to enter West Africa, mind you, even to colonize all those places, because the last empire, which is the Songhai, had already fallen. Okay? Had fallen. But when those empires existed and they were in charge of those territories, which they united with force, name one place that colonized them. They did not colonize them. But when they started fighting different insurgencies, obviously a divided people, everybody creating their own little kingdoms, you're going to be weaker. This happened before even the Europeans came. It wasn't the Europeans. They were already weak before the Europeans came. So they don't understand history.
or team or even tribes. But since they were able to like take these small differences and make them big, that's why even nowadays we are able to even fight, because we have this idea that was given to us, that this tribe is better and this other tribe is better because they were working with colonizers and stuff, you know. But before then, we used to have like very small clashes that would never have even we didn't even have like these big guns that were bringing us to us. Like,
Do you guys see what Mushiri did here? Oh, the conflict wasn't even that much. Mushiri, people were getting conquered and sold into slavery. You want to tell me that's not a real conflict? Like, how would you like to be sold into slavery? That's serious thing. So they try to make it, oh no, it wasn't that big of a conflict. No, it was real conflict. People were getting killed, those who resist, and those who get caught were getting sold into slavery. That's pretty serious business, if you ask me. It was real.
to fight their wars and make these conflicts, you know. So it was never a big conflict that he wants to make it seem like. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. What else? What else? Because he said quite a lot. The first time I watched that, is that he said quite a lot. What else stood out to you in that interview?
Like the way he's saying that the colonizers, like, they helped Africa. They were not coming to help Kenya or Uganda or Rwanda. Like, even if he says that infrastructures were built like for us to benefit, that's a very, very the farthest that we're being away from the truth. Because this
But you see, if he's basing it on, oh, they didn't come saying they are helping. Well, if you read the Europeans, they have books. That's what they said in the book. They said, oh, we're there to help them. That's what they said. I mean, do I agree with it? But that's what they said. Today, we're seeing people with that same type of mentality who are going to Africa benefiting, but they say, oh, we're going to Africa to help the Africans. How is that any different? Yes, sometimes you might come with a parasitic idea, but the things you're going to implement, mind you, you're dealing with human beings. You know, you cannot control human beings and you cannot predict how humans are going to react to the ideas you're presenting. Yes, you might come with your idea, but at some point it's not gonna pan out the way you think it's gonna go. For instance, like the Europeans, yeah, they wanted to colonize. They thought they were gonna keep the territories for thousands of years. That's what they thought. But the Africans put a stop to that quick. So that's what I'm saying. The colonization woke, you know, the Africans up in all these countries you're seeing today. So I'm speaking in terms of that. But you're like, oh, how did they help us? Well, people united and woke up. And now these countries are seen as countries where you, me, anybody, you can just, you're considered a citizen of the place. You can run for office. You can hold office. It's not based on your bloodline or what class you came from. That's not what it's based on. It's just, hey, we are all from here, and that is that. But before that, if you're not from some village, I highly doubt if you can even own a piece of property there. But these countries that the Europeans form, today you can travel anywhere in Kenya as a Kenyan, you Mushuri, and buy land there. You think before colonization you would have been able to do that? I highly doubt it. It's not going to go well. That's not how things used to be. So you have to take, you don't only look at the bad, you look at the good also. There's both sides of the equation. Equations is not just one-sided. There is both sides to it.
People are coming here. Even if you look at the railway lines, like the way they were constructed, they were making them precisely to be able to exploit and to take resources from the country, to take them to the coasts and the ports, and took them to their own country and develop their own countries. They were not coming here to develop Kenya or Uganda or Africa. They were coming to take what is ours, take it to their countries and benefit. And that's what they did. So he also said that he didn't benefit. Like, seriously, you can see their countries. They took our resources. They even have artworks there. I mean, the only things that we can't really pinpoint, like they took, is like the money or like.
Yeah, I get that. Yes, they built the railroads. They took out resources, but when the Europeans left, they didn't take the railroads with them. You guys are still using them. How long ago? Like, they've been gone. How long? They showed you how to, benefit from those resources. Now you are in charge of it. The tribes, African parasite, the tribes were not mining any resources. They didn't even value any of those. It meant nothing to them. In West Africa, the only thing that they cared about was silver and gold. That's it. Diamonds meant nothing. So when people are talking about, all these resources, if Europeans didn't put value in it or show what to use it for, I mean, let's be real. What would the Africans be using it for? If they could have used it for anything, they would have done it right now in the 21st century. So if they didn't do it, back in those days, there's no way they would do it today. So if anything, something that would have just been useless there, now the people can make money off of it. You can now, yes, the Europeans are the ones that started exploiting it and showing you what it is. But now you are in charge. Now you get to charge them for it and use their rail system that they built. Because Africans didn't build that. They built it.
How much they benefited, because we were not able to even like take count, because we were almost enslaved really in our own countries. Yeah.
I do agree, because when they came over, they came during a time when they needed raw materials too, and they needed a constant supply of that. That's why they were also quite specific with what was being grown in the countries they were trying to colonize. So there's also that.
She is right about that. They needed raw materials, and Africa and other places were ripe for it. Oh, let's see. Mamizi say, you suffer from major self-hate. Oh, sure. Yeah. I hate myself so much. This is why I'm speaking about what is factual. People, you see what I was telling you? You see exactly what I was telling you? So according to Mamizi, if I speak, logically about what I'm saying and what is true, that means I hate myself. Mamizi, quit being a child. If you cannot take it, go to one of those, Pan-Africanist channels where you guys, start fluffing each other, lying to each other, because I know over here, when you got people like Mamizi, when they hear me speak, they start getting scared. Oh, Afridamos, please stop speaking the truth, because what you are saying is hate. How is this going to improve Africans? Honestly, people, think about this. How is this going to improve Africans? It's not going to. So, speaking truth doesn't mean you hate yourself. It means you're realistic. You don't live in fantasy.
Even if you look at the UK, like they used the debt that they had on their little kingdoms that they set up around, like the money they got from those places, that's the money they used to pay the US when the US came to help them with the World War. and their debts. That's what the money they used. So when he's saying that they never benefited, like that's the farthest thing away from the truth.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. What else did he say that stood out to you?
And even if let's give him that maybe they brought infrastructure, which is not, it's just a byproduct of what they were doing. They obviously needed to make some industries here so that they can exploit us, right?
Why is it so hard for Mushiri to just say, yes, he is right. They built infrastructures and we are benefiting from it? The Africans didn't build that. The Europeans did. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It's okay to learn from other people, The Chinese, they learned from America and other European countries. But you see, somebody that has ego, too much ego would cause you to be blind. How are you going to learn? It is okay to learn from other people. Nothing wrong with that. See, I'm realistic about what I see. I know that those infrastructures, those Victorian buildings, those railroads, those are not huts. Okay? I know that for a fact. They are not huts. Those are European buildings. So Europeans, it doesn't matter where they go, they build the same style buildings. Look at South Africa. You think the way South Africa look and advanced than most African countries? If the Europeans were not there, you think South Africa would have looked that way? They would have looked like just any other African country. I hate to tell you, but that's how it would have looked like. So let's not play these games.
So those are the things they left, right? And he wants to make it like, oh, they brought these things like to you guys. No, like they were bringing these things to exploit us. However, we are left with these things just because. It's just like you're going to a place to like let's take the example of maybe Elon Musk. If he goes to colonize Mars, does he have like the best interest for Mars, or is he trying to get more resources from Mars so that he can be richer and more powerful? Like it's so weird. Like
yeah, but we don't know that. See, that's the thing. Humans exist in a symbiosis, is symbiotic. If you're coming there, he himself just admitted that yes, they were taking resources, which I agree to. Yes, they were taking resources, but did the Africans benefit at some point? Absolutely. None of us can deny that. I'm not saying they didn't take resources. They definitely did. And they still are. So we have to be realistic. We just got to wake up and understand, hey, this is business. Instead of trying to act like a victim, you're like, hey, this is business. I'm going to learn. Just like the Japanese, the Chinese, the Koreans, others have learned and they've overcome. I see nothing wrong with it, but you have to first recognize it. But being in denial, you will never ever learn. Because that ego is telling you now, oh, if you accept it, that means you're inferior. This is how these people think. Oh, because you're inferior. Why are you even thinking that way? Nobody's making you think that way, by the way. You're the one thinking that way on your own. So this is ridiculous.
He's thinking like this.
That's true. The part where he said, "No African doesn't know how to perform CPR," was a bit. There are people out there who genuinely think people are living in huts over this end. Well, some people in the deep villages are, but come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, let him speak to his own country if that's what he wants to portray of his own country.
I know even people from your own country, Kenya, that I have trained in the past from previous jobs, train them how to do CPR. And we ask these questions. Have you ever done CPR? They don't know what that is. So I was just saying majority of the people don't even know what CPR, how to perform CPR. So if you know how to do it, great. But that doesn't mean the majority knows how to. Where would they have learned it from? That's my question. Let's not pretend like it's just some magical knowledge coming from somewhere. If majority of people in most African countries know CPR, there are many times where people just pass out and die. That wouldn't happen. So let's not play these games. This is what I'm talking about. The ego. The ego would, people have so much ego that they wouldn't want to change. They would put out the ego and pretend like, oh no, we got it. We got it. But you don't got it. That's not the way life works.
Let him do that.
That's Gambia, yeah.
That is Gambia, and
Yeah.
I also saw that he had lived also in Sierra Leone, I think.
Yeah,
Which is unfortunate. I'm not trying to throw Gambia and Sierra Leone under the bus.
No, you're not. Trust me. I get it that Kenya is a bigger country, but you guys are not that advanced than us. So, I've met Kenyans. So you are not that advanced than Gambians. So let him speak.
But this is someone who's representing you, and he wants to make it seem like we are all doing so bad. And again, even if we are not modernized like the way he wants to make it seem, we've been living and we've been existing for millions of years as human beings, right? We didn't need anyone to come and help us. We've been thriving. We are humans. We have our own ways. We were perfectly fine, but now we are able to, he's making it look like, oh, we needed help. We didn't need help. We've been thriving for millions of years. We have
Is this guy serious right now? Why don't tell that to majority of the Africans and the African leaders? Because you're debunking everything they're saying. African leaders are all over. Africans are all over the West. They're constantly telling white people how much help they need. So why is this guy pretending like I'm making this up? Even your quote-unquote Pan-Africanists, the black ones that come, what do they say they are doing in Africa? He said Africa has been thriving. Let's look at even their quote-unquote Pan-Africanists that go to Africa. How many times did we hear, oh yeah, man, I'm over here helping the Africans. I'm about to give them a job. Why would people look at the conditions and think these people might need help? If Africans were thriving, like you're trying to put it. Come on, Muchiri.
all these millions of thousands of tribes in Africa, different cultures. I mean, what help did we need? We didn't need any help. They had their own culture. They were
Everybody needs help.
forcing it on people, and the only thing that Europeans had were guns. That's why they were able to conquer us. It's not like they were better than us. It's not like they were smarter than us. That's another idea that Africans, after colonization, we have this poor mentality. We are like, oh, Africans, we can't do anything for ourselves. We are not that smart. But really, it's just that they had guns and they were able to colonize other countries.
Dude, just because you have guns alone is not enough. You have to be able to also have the hearts and minds of the people. Yeah, you can have guns, but you can't kill everybody. So it wasn't only that. It's more than that.
It's not even Africa alone. They colonized all over the place. China, India, like Europe, like colonized itself also. Britain was also colonized by the Romans. It's not like they started colonization by themselves. These things have been happening over the years. It's just that they started expanding all over the globe. It's not something that Africa like needed, or it's weird though. I don't know what you think about the colonization thing yourself.
Yeah, we actually did a reaction video. Kim and I don't know if you know Kim, but he's part of the team on Kenganda. We did a reaction video to that, and we were it was all over the place, but we did react to it, and we didn't feel like what he said was right, because most times people who comment about such things have never even set foot in Africa. They're just going off theory and what the media wants to show them. They've not been on ground. And he also mentioned something.
You notice, the people, they've never been in Africa. I am from Africa. So I don't know where they're trying to take this to. Like, they're trying to make it sound like, oh, no, this guy's not from Africa. No, I am from Africa.
Something about nepotism and, nepotism. What do you say about that? Do you think he was actually right there?
Can you please define nepotism for me? Like, I can't pinpoint it in my head. Like,
I think having your relatives, bringing on your relatives to take on particular titles and leaving out the qualified for those titles.
Oh yeah,
in simple terms.
Like taking people you know around you to like give them like jobs and power and stuff.
True.
Well, also I'm not here to just say like he's wrong on every aspect really, but again, yes, there's some aspects to that, but also he's looking at this thing on a lens of he's been here 20 years ago, probably. 20 years ago, yes, corruption was rampant and people were able to like favor the people who are in their families. It's kind of true, but again,
wait, is he about to say no more corruption? They don't have corruption there anymore? With the amount of business and money coming into Africa, you want to tell me? I think corruption is at an all-time high. We just saw in the news, former South African president, Jacob Zuma, he's in prison right now, serving term for corruption. That's a whole president in a country that is even more advanced than most other African countries. Imagine what's happening in the other countries where there's no accountability. We see videos of, the son of what's the name? President of Equatorial Guinea, Nguema, the vice president. He's out there, there's nothing more corrupt than him, splurging. He even bought Michael Jackson's glove, hanging out with, European women and, having his own private bowling alley. I can go on and on and on. What is this guy talking about? The more money that comes in, it seems like the more these African leaders become more and more corrupt. Like the corruption is everywhere. Everywhere.
Maybe he needs to come back here and see what is happening. Like in Kenya specifically, we can't even do that. Like we can't even hire people around, even the same company. You can't hire the same people, the family. You need to get people who are different. You need to have different cultures. It's even family alone, even tribe alone, you can't even. It's difficult. We need to have like that diversity representation, and it's a good thing. Because we are all as
African parasite. He's flat out lying. I agree with you. Mishuri is just making it up. Black Home Channel. Oh, Zuma is out now. Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, he is just making it up as he goes. Like he's trying to tell everybody on camera, oh yeah, in Kenya they don't do nepotism. Yes, they do. What are you talking about? We all saw where in Kenya, not even too long ago, few years back, in the politics where, there was this tribal fight between two, different tribes. Like, what are you talking about?
much as we have different tribes which are bigger and smaller than others, this representation is quite important also.
Yeah, that's true. Now, to give a general overview, do you actually think colonialism helped Africa? Do you think if the colonialists wouldn't have come, Africa would have been better, or it would have been backwards?
No, it would have been better. We were good already. Like, do you really think we
Oh,
needed help? We were good. Like, I mean, people who need help are people who have problems. If something is not broken, you don't fix it, right?
So Mishuri is saying without colonialism, Africa, Africa was good. Dude, we all know that's not true. How would Africa been good without the colonialism, where everybody's focused on their little tribes? All these advancements that we made, Africa would have still been in the dark ages. Like, what are you talking about? Even in the 21st century, we see people who they cannot see or operate outside of what they know to be their tribe. They cannot even put the interest of an entire nation, group of people, past their tribe. So, what are you talking about? The reason why these countries are more united, people now just see themselves as a nation. This is a new thing. That's not how it was in Africa. This is why I talked about this in the monologue. So, no, I totally disagree with you. Without it, Africa would have never been good. We're getting better though. And that just started not that long ago. So, what are you talking about?
Africa was not broken. We were surviving, we were thriving. Yes, we were different tribes and we had different cultures. We are not a united country as Kenya. Kenya has 43 tribes right now, including the Asians. That is mostly the Indian people who were brought here by the Indians, actually, by the British, actually. But we were thriving as different tribes. The only thing maybe they can say, like, maybe did was to bring us together and to work together. And the only reason we did that was to fight the enemy, which was.
That's a good thing. Everybody came together and started working as one unit, one interest. That is a good thing versus all those 42 tribes you're naming. Imagine all of them having their own little territories. That's what it used to be like. There wouldn't be a Kenya. So he's proving my point. Because, like, the person, they will not see you as, oh, Kenya, that didn't exist. If you're not from their tribe, you're not from that village. You're not about to rule over them. You know this. This idea of president that came from the Europeans. So not everything about colonization was bad.
The colonizers, because they were exploiting us, they were raping our women, they were taking resources, they were taking our land.
He's doing the Pan-Africanist talk. Oh, they were raping our women. Show me all these half European Kenyans that are running around. People need to stop with this.
They were colonizing us. They were, it wasn't something that they did that was good. It's just that, yes, there's some byproducts of that helped us. Also, there's another thing, like, yes, Europeans came with guns, right? And they developed the guns there. But however, like, technology has to start somewhere. Even in Kenya, like, I don't know if you guys know, we are the country that started, like, M-Pesa, like mobile money transfer. And it's now a global thing. Technology has to start somewhere, right?
I guess the mobile phone and M-Pesa is from ancient Africa, from Egypt, or Kemet, as some of you would call it. Like, I'm just saying, we don't need to miseducate ourselves. Like, it's totally okay. It's not that you're feeling inferior whatsoever. It is what it is. You learn, and that's how you improve. But, but pretending, oh, no, I mean, no, we're good. I mean, Oh, who need those, those white people, over here eating mayonnaise and, talking, they were here raping the women. Show me the mixed Kenyan, the mixed Kenyan tribes running all over the place. This is the Pan-Africanist talking point. So it's like, I'm not even going to touch on that, but we all know that's not the case. Okay? Even these people that come and say, oh, the mixed people, you know how mixed people were created. The blacks were getting raped. How do you know? Were you there? To me, that's pretty crazy for you to be speaking about even your own ancestors like that. Am I saying maybe somebody wasn't forcefully sexualized? I'm pretty sure it happened, but you cannot say every mixed person you say, oh, they were raped, they were a rape, you know rape baby. That's crazy. That's crazy. Think about that for a minute. How many people you are even insulting? It's crazy.
And the idea that Europeans are better and they should come and colonize other countries, it's not really the idea. Like, we should have just left Africa to develop as its own thing. Let us go to a direction that maybe right now we don't even know where we would have been as a continent. Maybe we would have been.
Oh yeah, maybe we would have gone to the moon by now, invented the spaceship, because Shaka Zulu and Sunjata and Mansa Musa, they were already building the spaceship, but somehow the Europeans got jealous. They came and say, "Hey, Mansa Musa, stop building this spaceship, because you guys are going to develop." That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Why are we talking this way? So this is why young Africans don't listen to this. You have to face reality. That was then, this is now. I'm not saying dwell and live in the past. Knowing the past and looking at where we are today, we came, far, far from those days. I say I didn't live back then, but I'm just telling you where Africa was and where it is today. It's a big improvement. Now, any Joe Blow can run for office. That's not how it used to be. Look at all those sleepy presidents in Africa. Even their own president, Museveni, the old man, always sleeping. Look at how he came to power. He did it the old African way, through the barrel of a gun. Why do you think he doesn't want to leave power? So that old craziness never left them.
So even at a better place, but they took that privilege away from us, that chance of growing as a different kind of culture. And
say Nyancho said that. Juliet, I'm not surprised that she would say such a gross thing. Amazing.
Also evolving differently. It's good to have that kind of diversity.
I do agree with you. Now, moving forward, what do you think are some of the practices Africans can practice to help them, to help them not think like that? Because whether we like it or not, there's some Africans who genuinely think they need to be recolonized again.
You see, even though Jonita denied, they want to attack me and be offended by, there's a reason why they got triggered, because they know what I'm saying is true, because they've heard other Africans saying this. Hey, I'm not saying, I'm telling you, I don't speak in terms of what I like or don't like. I speak in terms of what is real, like what I'm seeing, what the trend is, how people think. I speak in terms of that. And Ouagadougou, you're right. Kenyatta and Odinga, they're going at it, and it's based on tribal fight. So people that get mad at me as if I'm saying, hey, this is what should happen. No, I just assess things and see it for what it is, and I call it out. And it's not like I'm picking on somebody. No, I'm just pointing out what the facts are. That's all. It's not like I'm just gonna be like, oh, white people, please come down and colonize, these Africans. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm looking at, you know, the facts. The places where the Europeans they stayed longer, those are the most advanced places in Africa. I hate to tell you, but we all see it for ourselves. We all see it.
Well, I think we need to be educated about our culture. We need to understand where we came from as a people. We need to understand that we are not stupid, like he makes us seem. We don't need anyone to come and save us. We are perfectly fine, but this has to come from you going deep as a person and looking deep into your culture. I see people trying to be so westernized, like they're trying to name their kids even like 2-3 names that are English names, and they're trying to eliminate their tribal names,
That local
especially in
names,
Kenya. Yeah, like especially in Kenya, it sucks. That's why I have my own African name. I do have an English name. However, I'm actually in the process of actually removing it from my documentations. I do not need it. I'm not an Englishman. I am an African, a proud African. And the only reason I'm speaking like this is because I actually took time to dig deep into my own people, research who am I.
Oh, now, Mushiri, the love doctor, is a deep thinker that goes to see what, to learn about his people. Those Mushiri sound like somebody who messes with even the traditional African stuff. I bet you he doesn't go to the villages. He's not into that. Golden Dance, indeed, verily. Yeah, him, like Juliet saying such a thing, saying light skinned people in Gambia, those are rape babies. That is the most ridiculous and rude thing I've ever heard, But, with, like I said, that's just the Pan Africanist talking point. Even her, you could look at her and tell that she is mixed. Is she saying that came from the same thing too? It's crazy. It's crazy, like some of the things that these people say. So I just like to point them out for people to think, like, okay, wait a minute. Why is somebody thinking this way? But if you have to feel inferior about seeing things for what they are, you're the one with the problem. Something is wrong with you, because nobody can make you feel any type of way if you don't already feel that way. I can't make you feel less than. I can't make you, do anything you don't want to do. You have to have a healthy balance, because think about it. Like people would say, "Oh, I can't believe you said this." I say, "Oh, this, aren't you African?" I am an African. Ask yourself, why would I go out of my way, to down myself? That's not what this show's about. It is about speaking facts so people can learn. We can't just live in fantasy. And now, with this social media and people coming to Africa talking about their Pan-Africanists, and the African Pan-Africanists spewing a whole host of nonsense. Because you see, the African, like maybe a black person from America, right? I can say, okay, yeah, maybe they are confused. They just identify as black. That's okay. But you that's coming from Africa, like I've seen some of these people is so ridiculous, right? I call them Google scholars. They would literally Google. They were talking about certain group of people in their own country where they came from, and they will Google to say, "Oh, let me see what they look like." Dude, you're from there. If that is true, like I don't have to Google to see what a a, a Fuller, somebody from the Fuller tribe or Mandinka tribe looks like. I know what they look like. So I don't need to Google anything. So some of these people have been so dumbed down to a point, everything, oh, let me Google it. But I'm the crazy one. Like, who is more credible? Like, everything you gotta Google it. But they say, oh, don't trust the white man. How do you know the white man is not putting fake pictures up there? Since you tell me not to trust the white man. But you see, these people would argue with you about your even your own culture that they know nothing about, but they give themselves license just because they say, oh, you black, I'm black, so therefore, through osmosis, like through the black osmosis, we get to know everything about you. It's the craziest thing I hear these people say. Seriously.
Where did I come from? What was the culture of my people? What were they like? Were we as bad as the colonizers make us seem? Did we need all that people to come and rape us and to kill us and to take our land and to exploit us just to get a few roads, railways, and airports?
Oh, visionary of love. That's a good thing. I applaud Switzerland for doing that. Yeah, somebody need to, because they definitely spread lots of lies and propaganda. Um, I mean, they're confusing more and more people. It's crazy. And now the people that speak the truth, the facts about history and reality, those are the people they consider to be the problems, and it's crazy.
Doesn't make sense. We were perfectly fine, you know. So you have to think about it in that perspective also. Like people have been educated mostly in the Western side of things, and they do not even understand their own cultures, and they're living in Africa. They're trying to be Westernized. They're trying to make music that sounds like Western. They're trying everything is Western, but it's weird.
You see, when you look at some of the presidents, even today in Africa, those guys were alive during colonial times. They even served in those colonial administrations. Those people are the least westernized people who are closer to the western who were even born during colonization. Because like when my parents were born, you know, there was still colonization there. They are the least westernized people. So today, when people, young people who are saying they are so westernized, they don't even know what their real culture is, is that white people's fault? So you telling me when there was colonization actually happening, you are more westernized today than the people who even lived through that? Is that really white people's problem, or you are the one confusing yourself? It's TV and social media, the things that the people are picking up on. That's not the Western culture that came to Africa. You're going out seeking out bad behaviors and thinking that's what you should look like. Because many, what he's saying, they want to be rappers. Oh, you think the white Europeans who were there, they were there, spitting bars, rapping? It's not a white thing. You're talking about blacks here. So it's a completely different thing, okay? Bernard said, Afridamus, you need to wear your tribal clothes and don't forget Swahili. I'll work on that, Bernard. Yeah, I guess that's what we all need to start doing, wearing our tribal clothes and speaking Swahili. Maybe then we would be more African. This is crazy.
But you also have to understand that is the colonial mindset. That it's not like they're doing it intentionally. It's what they were programmed to be. That's how the colonizers had set this.
Jiwas, those Benin, Togo, those were not the same countries. I get people want to say this. They were never the same countries. The concept of country is a new thing. It's not It's not, that's not how things used to be. They had kingdoms, little kingdoms. These are not real, what people are trying to say is not the same thing. These are separate territories from each other.
This thing up, but basically it has to start by us understanding our own culture and educating ourselves about Africa and your own tribe. Start with your own tribe, then move to your own country. Then,
well, they still have. See, Gambia and Senegal have similar cultures, but they were separate from each other. In fact, even when they had the Mali Empire, in Senegal, they had, in those regions, they have their own, they have the Jollof Kingdom. Like people talk about jollof rice, Nigerians and Ghanaians fighting over that. That's actually from Senegal area, Jollof Kingdom. You have Salum, Sin Salum, those kingdoms, they existed separately. So it's okay. Just because people have similar cultures don't mean they're the same countries. Belgium speak both French and German, but they are not Germany or France. They are their own country. So these separations, they brought peace and united people more. So to say all these people were the same, that's just a fantasy. It's not real. If you're from Africa, you would know this. It's not the same group of people. That's right, Fuller Sport. It was, the Jollof Wars existed back then too, before, social media. I mean, the Nigerians and Ghanaians ran with it, but that's a, they call it jollof rice, but where we come from, they call it benachin. So they are trying to imitate the Gambian and Senegal food that is called benachin. But hey, since they have larger population, they popularize it, but they copied that from our region.
move to the whole continent and be proud as an African. Don't think that you are stupid just because you did not invent a gun and take over the globe. The same thing would have happened if Africans would have developed the guns. You think we would have been here sitting around? You'd be the ones colonizing this.
Right?
Did you guys see what I said? So even these kingdoms, Mali, like think about how huge, the Mali Empire was. You want to tell me, all those people just voluntarily came under the Mali Empire? No, Mali had a bigger army, so they conquered them and they added them onto the Mali Empire. That's what happened. If Mali Empire had the capabilities to build boats too, I bet you they would have sailed and go to other places and conquer there too. They are conquerors. That's what they did. Oh yeah, the Jollof Kingdom never spread east. You're right about that.
Because when you have the guns,
I know some people will be confused by this. They don't know that Jollof Kingdom actually existed.
It's only the weapons that were helping them.
True, exactly. Like you have to fear someone with a gun because they can take you out in a split second, right?
Yeah, I mean they had guns, and even people were trying to fight them, even in like tens of thousands of armies who couldn't even.
I know, like African Parasite, he was speaking about how Europeans are so evil, but then he admitted that if Africans had the capabilities, they would have done the same, which I totally agree.
Take 1,000 people, because they had machine guns, they'll just shoot them down. And of course, when you are like a traditional African, when you see that, those days you used to like think more in line of juju and witchcraft,
Right.
When you see that, obviously you think these are sent by God and they're different. They look different from you, and they can exploit that now to even dig deep into your psychology and make it seem like they are better than you. And you start thinking that they are better than you, in which case they're not.
And Fuller Sports, you're absolutely right. That's why it's just funny to me. Like, this guy need to go check out. Even on the internet, you can type in, the Ashanti Army in 1823. You would clearly see them. They had guns. So they speak as if Africans didn't have guns. They had guns. Like, you could literally see this for yourself. The Ashantis had guns because they were trading with the Europeans. So they were trading humans for guns in those regions. So the people had guns. They were muskets. That's what it was back in the days. But towards around 1884, the Europeans came with started coming with the automatic machine gun. But these people had guns.
That's really that's right, and that's true, and I hope everyone watching this kind of gets onto that train. Now, he also mentioned that slavery happened way before the colonizers even got to Africa. Can you dispute that?
Well, no, it's true. It did happen. It happened mostly in the sub-Sahara, like Sahara area to the Arab area. That was almost 1500 years ago. Yeah.
He's right about that. So, you guys remember I said the trans-Saharan trade, slave trade, went on for 500 years prior to the Atlantic slave trade. And before that, slavery was already, Africans themselves were enslaving other Africans. So nobody knows how long it's been going on. So what some of these people, when they speak as if it was like on this one particular date, that was the official starting date of slavery. No, there was the market there already. There were willing sellers, and Europeans needed to buy humans for work, and the market was right there. Just like today, they need some diamonds. Then West Africa, they go and buy it, or South Africa. The market was already there. It's not like, the Africans don't know anything about slavery, and the Europeans came and said, hey guys, can you enter this slave business? That's not what happened. They were already doing this hundreds or even thousands of years before the Europeans ever, came there. At least officially in the writings of the Arabs, the trans-Saharan trade went on for 500 years before the transatlantic slave trade. And the Europeans were the ones that eventually put a complete stop to slavery to the days that we are in today. They made it illegal. It's not like the Africans did it themselves.
Something like that. But yeah, however,
yes, Miko, you're right. The white man didn't start it. They ended it. They ended the slavery because that was a big market in sub-Saharan Africa, if you guys must know.
It was mostly Muslims coming over to take slaves who are not converting to Islam. That is how it happened. So they used to come, the Arabs used to come from the Arab countries and come to try and pass the Islam message to the African people and tribes. And whoever wasn't taking the tribes, their Islam religion, were being killed, even the king. So they had to start.
Come on, Mashuri. The Arabs were not that powerful for them. They were not powerful enough to come all the way, down south, like in West Africa, and wage wars. Yes, there were some Arab wars that stopped around like Mali, but that was around like 1435. That was way later. The times that we're talking about, the Arabs, they didn't have the capability to come and fight the Africans there and subjugate them. That's not how it happened. It was purely trading. They didn't subjugate Africans. Like when these people speak, they try to make Africans look like they were just weak, victims. That's what pisses me off about this whole thing. It's just crazy.
Taking the Islam culture and religion. However, they also started taking slaves who are not converting. So the kings would have now, because they were trying to save their own people, the people who are not converting, they used to sell them off. And they used to go there, they used to take a lot of men because they wanted men for the army and stuff, you know. But they used to go there and castrate them. Not most of those guys who were taking there, they were like, they never even survived.
He's right about that. The Arabs used to take, like they would bring this the African males to Egypt and these places to guard their harems of women, and they would castrate the men. They called it eunuchs. There were lots of Africans who were taken into the Arab world, but the reason why you're not gonna see lots of black Arabs in Arab world is because, yes, they were castrating the men. You know, he's right about that.
They don't even have children because they were all castrated. They were like, they're useless, you know. So slavery did happen, but it was not slavery between Africans. Yes, as much as, yes, Africans kings would have taken them, but they were just trying to save their own people. Because if they don't save them, these guys are coming here and killing us. And they have big armies. You know, it's like Africans,
Missouri, that's not how it happened. Like Miko, you saying, yes, one of the big wars between Arabs from the north, the Moroccans, between the Moroccans and the Songhai Empire. They're the ones that took the Songhai Empire down. That's what I'm saying. This is around like the 1435s. Like the Arabs were not that powerful to come all the way and fight, you know, in West Africa. That's not what the game was. Yes, later they gained, you know, they had some European weapons and they went against the Songhai Empire and they won.
used to have, yes, small villages and tribes like the way we used to live, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the only weak point with that is that we were not able to defend ourselves quite effectively.
I get it now. So Shiri, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add, please?
Well, I'm not really sure I want to add anything else. Unless you have any questions. Anyone else who wants to see me maybe break this down a little bit more? I think I'm doing it like a proper reaction to it, like maybe a video and me like reacting word for word for what he's saying, and maybe agreeing and also mostly disagreeing to because I had not seen this video until you mentioned it. So I'll be doing it a proper breakdown like the way I did the first video. So anyone who is interested in that, I'm going to be doing that in my channel. Check me out, Mushiri Wamureu, and let me know what you guys.
Yeah, you guys can check out Mushiri. Obviously, I don't know if he's watching, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna open up the line for a little bit and allow you guys. You know, I want to hear what you guys think. If what Mushiri is saying and what I'm saying, if these countries would have existed, and these countries are more peaceful than those kingdoms that we had, that Africans used to have, because, you know, I don't want to say we, because I didn't live back then. So, Miko the Great, yeah, Mishuri was here before. I would love to have him again, but I just dropped the line. If you want to call in and let me know what you agree on or disagree with, we can discuss that as well. Let me see. Audrey said Afridamus is going to say they were castrated by fellow Africans. No, I wouldn't say that because that didn't happen. You see, you know, like you and Mama Z especially. Mama Z, why don't you hit that link and come have a discussion with me? Let me know what you disagree with. Okay? Come through. Hey, Fuller Sport, welcome to the show again. Thank you for coming in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
On,
hear you.
oh,
Yeah,
there you are. There you are.
yeah, yeah. Um, I look at it in two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Before colonialism, let's just say that we were developed, we had things going on, and like other nations, we warred with each other. It
Right.
wasn't like it wasn't like what the Pan Africans make it out to be, like a Wakanda. Like they make it out to be like Timbuktu was always peaceful, that like these kingdoms were always peaceful, but they weren't always peaceful. We were fighting each other at times, you know.
Did you know that Timbuktu was ran by Arabs, right? It was
Uh,
Timbuktu was a school of theology. People were going there to memorize the Quran and the Hadith. It's not
oh,
like
oh,
they were there teaching science and all
yeah,
that.
you know, the thing is like there was so many different things going on there. However, that doesn't negate the fact that, you know, people got killed there. You know, it was not like always peaceful and prosperous. You
Right.
know what I mean? There was always like, in fact, one guy, I think his name was Sani Ali.
Yeah,
I think
Sunny
he
Ali.
slaughtered. I think he slaughtered like a lot of people. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah. He was a wicked king. He's the one that,
yeah, yeah,
Askia Muhammad
yeah,
toppled.
yeah. And so the thing is like when we didn't have borders, and if you say, okay, well, some people will say like, you hear some Pan Africanists say, you know, we need to get rid of the flags, we need to get rid of the everything, but it's like, okay, before the flags came, you had to understand something. There were still different cultures in these areas. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
but
Like,
if we get rid of the flag, right? Because this
yeah,
flag is what united the country and united all these tribes and ethnic groups, as one under that flag. So now, if you remove that flag, because as it is in these countries, some major tribes that have numbers, they already fight over who gets to be the president and all. So
right,
imagine removing the flag, what that would look like.
right. You know, and then like for someone to say, and you know, you hear this among the Pan Africanists, like for someone to say that like, oh, we're all one. Okay, we share the same phenotype, but you're not going to take like the things that I do away from me. Like you're not going to take like my tribe of code of conduct away from me to try to group me with what you want to do. Like you're not going to do that. I'm not going to like go for it, you know, and neither are people from my tribe going to go for it either. So the thing is this, like if you try to impose Swahili on the west coast of Africa, West Africans are going to be like, well, we never spoke that before, even before colonialism. So how are you going to impose it on us? You know,
Yeah,
you
but
have to
but that's
say,
what I'm saying. You bringing another language. It doesn't matter where the language come from, and you say the people gotta speak this Swahili. That's crazy. That's literally you're saying whatever language they are speaking is not good enough. So you're saying, oh, I want to get rid of the white man's language. How is that different? Because it's still a foreign language, it's a foreign language. Because people got to sit in the classroom and learn it. We already learned a language, which is English here. You and I are speaking it. Majority of people are speaking it. So people that don't want to speak English, they can just erase it from their brain and learn about Swahili. And the crazy thing they don't understand, like African parasite is saying, and Bernard, in ancient Africa, you cannot just roam about. There were more territories than it was now. If they didn't break the territory, even just in these countries, even just Gambia alone, a small country, do you know how many territories would exist?
right. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, for example, I'll give a perfect example. When NATO did what it did to Libya, right? Libya was one country, right?
Mhm.
Now Libya is lawless. You have Benghazi, you have people claiming Tripoli, you have people claiming the Fezzan, you have people claiming these different territories because what held the country together is now gone. So if you try to do that with these Pan African ideologies, it's going to be batshit crazy. You know, it's going to be even more unorganized. You know, do I agree with like how these leaders run the countries? Not necessarily.
Right.
Definitely not. Most of the time, I don't agree with how they run the countries. However, the answer to that is not to just say, "Oh, let's get rid of the flags and let's just be all one thing," because before colonialism, we were all one thing, which is not true.
No, that's not reality. Because like some of these people, like more fortune say, oh, Africans bow down to non-black languages. That's not true. We still speak our own languages, but you know, it makes sense to speak an official language that everybody can unite under. Because if I just speak my tribal language, you speak your tribal language, somebody else does that, what are we going to,
Yeah, what are we gonna
communicate?
do? Yeah,
Like, how
yeah.
are we
How
going
are
to
we gonna?
communicate? You see what I'm
Unless,
saying? So,
exactly,
but
unless,
but
unless,
but but people who are
no,
not from Africa don't understand that. They think in terms of just skin color. Oh, I mean, as long as you're African, you're all the same, which is not reality. That's not true.
it's not. It's not
And
reality.
yeah, that's not reality. Like
What they don't get
English,
though.
English is widely spoken around the
Right,
world.
right, right.
So if you don't want to speak English, you're just taking yourself out of the game, or speak an
Right,
international language. It's in your
right,
advantage to
right,
do that. It's a
right.
tool.
Yeah, and so for example, when I go visit my sister in Cuba, I'm not gonna speak English. I have to speak Spanish because it's a majority Spanish speaking country.
Right.
So I can't go to a country and not have like at least a sound understanding of the language I'm getting into. Like you just got that's just the way it is. Like, and we can use Latin America for example. Let's say in Latin America, if they were united with indigenous languages, there would be like mass confusion. So,
Yeah. Well,
despite the fact that the Spanish did do a number on them, it's the fact that Spanish is the language that has been spoken for a long time. So you shouldn't try to reinvent the wheel if things are organized.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, what most of these people don't understand. If you like speak just certain language, like your tribal language, you can only speak that, where you are at, you know. Um, Maybe outside of that territory, you would probably meet just few people that speak that. So you're pretty much limiting yourself from interacting with a lot more people. Now, like, that would be a dumb idea for somebody to do that. Language is a
Right,
tool. It's a
right,
tool. It doesn't mean like when you speak it now, all of a sudden you're bowing down to whatever that means. It's smart to be able to speak, lots and lots of languages if you can,
and I
because it
mean,
would make you useful.
right, like hypothetically speaking, let's say we impose Swahili all in Africa, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that they would have to send teachers out to teach the language?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make any sense to do that, because now you're going to have to like cover a vast, massive area to try to teach a language that many aren't familiar with, except for East Africans.
Yeah, well, I mean, and also this Swahili language. Name the inventions that this speaking Swahili, they've invented things in Swahili. I am yet to see one. So you're telling me, okay, Swahili is more superior than our West African languages? Why don't they just say, hey, everybody should learn Yoruba in West Africa? Since, oh, a lot of people in Nigeria speak it, that's not how life works. Life, you do what makes sense. So that's why I'm saying, like, this, the colonization, it even united Africa more than what it, more than what it used to be. Other Africans are aware of other Africans' existence, and that didn't used to be a thing. If people are not from your territory, you probably don't know that they existed.
Right. The only way you would know that they existed is through trade. That's it. You know, that's pretty much it. It's through trade.
My
Right.
missus said, "Oh, the point is to speak a common African language." Hey, I'm already doing that. If I want to speak a common African language, I can do that with my countrymen. I don't need to speak a common African language with somebody from Kenya or Tanzania. If they speak English, that's good enough for me. We can just speak that, you know.
Right. Even
Exactly, Audrey. If I only spoke
um,
Soninke, you guys wouldn't understand me.
right.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's like literally, it's like me saying everybody should
No, but
speak Soninke. That's narcissistic.
no, but even this, even within our own tribes, there's different dialects.
Oh,
So,
I know.
like, so what? I mean, for example, a Fulani from Nigeria, I would understand it, but then there would be some different words that I would be like, oh no, like I guess that's native to their territory.
Right.
So you can't like just reinvent the wheel and say, okay, we want to do this and we want to do that because you're romanticizing Wakanda, which is a fictional movie. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like
well,
you're
that's what
you're
I'm
not gonna
telling you.
listen real quick. You're not gonna find an African leader right now who's gonna be willing to like really reorganize the wheel and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put all the resources towards Africa and we're gonna do that. It's just not possible. You're not
Like,
gonna find one. If you do,
what would even be the purpose? That's what I don't understand. Language is a tool for people to communicate in. If we can understand each other already, why do we need to, just because somebody want to fulfill their ego? That's what I'm saying. Oh, let's speak a common African language. Guess what? Now the common African language is called English. Okay? English or French. I don't see anything wrong in that. But now you guys want to come and say, oh, you gotta learn Swahili. So our people will be speaking in some thick accent Swahili, trying to make this harder for us. I mean, we don't need all that. We're fine just the way we are.
right. Hey, listen. Of course, it would be nice if Africa was more developed and the leaders were more about Africa. Of course, that would be nice, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But if you're like not from Africa, you're an outsider, regardless of your skin color. You
Well,
know, it's just a
that
reality.
makes you a colonizer, because like uh Mamizi is saying, oh, language is only a tool, not only a tool, but a cultural identity. So Mamizi, you telling me I'm not of Swahili. I'm not from that culture. So you want me to give up my culture and become a Swahili person? Like, why would I do that? Like, because just because I'm speaking English doesn't mean I'm an Englishman all of a sudden. I mean, if I have use for
Exactly.
Swahili, if I have use for Swahili, you best believe I would figure out a way to learn Swahili. But I'm not gonna be going around, especially you show up in West African countries telling people, "Oh, speak Swahili." They're gonna be like, "What? You better get out of my face." And it's true. Mamizi,
Right.
why don't you call in instead of writing all this stuff? Call in, you know, um, and tell us, everything you're
But
writing. We can have a discussion. And people telling us to speak Swahili, they cannot even speak the language. That's what's
right,
funny.
right, right, right. And then look. For example, I was speaking like Portuguese Creole to someone, right?
Yeah.
And the same Pan Africanist who was saying, "Oh, you should speak Swahili," now are saying English, please. And it's like, hey, which one is it? You're talking about African languages, and then when I speak like African language, you guys are now like moving the wheel back.
Yeah.
It's like, what
Well,
is it?
well, it's crazy. So it's like, okay, it's crazy. Like, okay, you're sitting there, you're eating, you enjoy fried chicken, whatever. And the person is like, "Oh, you should eat chicken." You're like, "Yeah, I'm eating chicken." "Oh no, you should eat, baked chicken." "No, but I like fried chicken." They are all chicken. Like, what is wrong with it? If you like baked chicken, you should eat that and leave me alone. You see? But this is
Right,
crazy. But
right.
this is crazy. Audrey said,
No,
if white people start speaking Swahili, Afridamus will learn it. That's real funny, Audrey. I guarantee you,
well,
white people are already speaking Swahili.
no, well. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Uh, since Audrey said that, well, I hate to be a savage, but I know white people who know African languages better than Pan Africanists. So
Oh,
what are
I
you
know.
saying?
Oh,
Like, what are you saying? Like
I've met
you're not really
white
saying
women.
anything. Like,
I've met white
yeah,
people that speak, they speak Soninke, they speak Wolof, they speak Mandinka, and they speak it really
yeah,
well. I'm yet to
exactly.
meet a Pan Africanist who
Who
speaks
has? Who can?
any of this
Who can?
language.
Yeah, this one Pan Africanist came up to me one day. Uh,
Visionary of love said something here. I was just thinking it. He said if white people start speaking Swahili, they will switch it and say, let's do Mandinka or Wolof. She's right. And
you know,
like if
you
before you
know,
ask,
you
like
know what's sad though?
If Mamizi want me to really believe her, why don't she learn Swahili and start speaking it? Then I would take you serious.
You know what's crazy? There was this
Uh-huh.
one Pan Africanist. There was this one Pan Africanist who came up to me one day because I had like this one shirt that said Fulani on it, and it was funny. He was like, "Oh, I'm Fulani too," and so I said, "Mjarama, Tana Alaton," and
Uh-huh.
then what he said is he was like, "Huh? What did you say?" And I said, Halam Pular," and then he was like, what are you saying? Like, well, you said
Exactly.
you were Fulani. You said you were Fulani, so I'm just like kicking the slang to you. I'm just kicking the stuff to you. So
Uh-huh.
like,
Well,
like he
it's
said,
like it's crazy. Like, because I guarantee you, most of these people, I can just speak Soninke to them and tell them it's Swahili. They'll probably believe it too. you know. And look at
right,
what Bernard
right.
said. Bernard said they got mad at a group of South Africans for learning Chinese. Yeah, I've seen that too. I'm like, why are you mad at somebody for learning, a language? Like literally, the person is their own individual. They have their own brain. Like, is it jealousy? Maybe, you can learn the language and now you want to be
Well,
mad at the person. Like, what's going on?
okay. Well. Let's hypothetically speak. If a person embarking on the journey to Europe, African person, be it they go to Denmark, be it they go to Portugal, be it they go to Italy, be it they go to France, Spain, um, Russia, even. If they decide, okay, no, I'm not going to learn any of the European languages, I'm just going to stick with my African languages, how far would they really get? Even my dad, when he went to study in Eastern Europe during the time of our independence, he had to learn that language in order to do what he needs to do. Did it mean that did he embrace their culture or anything? No, it was learned for academic reasons. You know, and I'll just take my example. I come from a traditional West African Muslim family, so I did go to Arabic school. But
Yeah,
do you
same
see
here.
me trying to, yeah, do you see me trying to greet every Arab and say that, oh, I'm an Arab or something like that? Or do I just read the language and speak the language when I'm reading something or I'm studying? That's like, I equivalent to computer coding. Like you code and that's a language in itself. But am I going to go up to someone and say, oh, I'm a variable? I'm a I'm a I'm a print box or something. Am I gonna say that? No.
It's
So
it, it's
this is
crazy.
like
The
it's
argument is
crazy.
crazy. Like Saint James said here. Oh, the Wu-Tang Clan members, do they speak Chinese? I would hope so. They speak bong bong. Who knows? But at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, um, yes, the colonization, not everything. That's why I said is the good, the bad, and the ugly. But at the end of the day, it united Africa, to what it is today. And as far as people saying, fantasizing about what it used to be, like they don't realize like the what Africa used to be. You cannot, you won't be able to just get up and be, you know, working in these different territories. That's not how it was. Like
No, it wasn't.
what are you
It
going to be
wasn't.
communicating in? Like it's
Exactly.
not like
It's not
that.
gonna work out right.
Yeah, that's not how
Even
it,
even
it
right
was.
e- even right now, okay, we have that issue of like you still have separatist groups throughout Africa. So you can't
Uh-huh.
just say that, oh, we're gonna unite all of Africa when separatist groups are gonna be like, no, we want to be autonomous. We want this space to ourselves. You can't just like do that. You're gonna end up fighting more, you know? That's what's gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
not all it's just unrealistic that all Africans are going to be on the same page and say, let's do away with flags, let's do away with our own tribal culture. It's just not going to work. And like even some Pan Africanists have went as far to say, let's do away with religions, which we have our own flavor of religion, be it Christianity, be it Islam. They said, let's do away with that and do traditional African religion, but they don't even know what traditional African religion is.
Oh yeah, that's
You
funny
know,
when they say tradition. I've heard, and again, the people that call themselves Pan-African is from Africa. They should know better, but they are the ones that would say these crazy things. Oh, our African religion. Name that religion. Which African religion? Maybe, some tribe you came from. Maybe you guys believe in some things, but I guarantee you, the next tribe, not everybody around where you come from, believe in what you guys believe in. So there's no such thing as quote unquote African religion. Like in these
right?
countries, like you cannot just show up and say, "Oh, I'm practicing even this traditional talking about this voodoo stuff," people would distance themselves from you. It's not
Right.
that kind of party. People, you're either
Right.
Christian or Muslim,
Right.
but like the people that,
And
some places are more open to, this type of black magic stuff. But,
mhm.
for most
And
parts that I know, they don't play that game.
no, they don't play that game. And even like with the whole voodoo and stuff like that,
Oh yeah, the voodoo
you're
thing.
yeah,
No, no, you're not
yeah,
about to
you
bring that
yeah,
in
you're not
some
about to do that.
places. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not about to do that because you're actually summoning evil spirits when you do it, because you don't know what you're doing. That's the whole thing. You just probably saw like a couple of YouTube flicks and decided that, oh, okay, this is the thing I want to practice and things like that. A lot of these like so-called comedic people, these timid guys and these hoteps and these like Orishas and stuff like that. A lot of them have like copied and pasted things and really haven't sat down and actually went to someone to get the explanation. Like I had to go sit down and go to someone to actually get the explanation of these different belief systems.
Right.
And most of the people that I went to have told me that the ones who claim that they're doing it are so far um, the other way of what it really is that it's not even funny. That's what they tell me.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, like that type of belief system, quote unquote, what they call, and they like to call it African religion. That in itself is an insult, because you're saying not every African believe in that, chicken foot religion, that, you want to kill
Right,
chicken, spill the blood, like not
right.
everybody, people
Yeah,
people
not
people
not everybody follows that.
yeah, I've seen mostly
Yeah,
like YouTubers that are, saying this. Or when you watch like those dramatic Nigerian movies, you see they do the ritual with the guy
right,
with the white stuff in on one eye. I used to see
right,
that on those movies.
right,
and
right,
and and
right.
you come to places around like Gambia, they have like they do it in secret, like they call it the Moro, the Marabu.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's not
yeah.
a
The Malibu.
religion. Yeah, it's not a
No,
religion. They tend, they
right,
are Muslim, but you
right.
cannot just come
Yeah,
up and say, like, all this in African spirituality. I call it the chicken foot religion, because for some reason they cannot do
yeah. It
anything
is the chicken foot. Yeah, and
without chicken,
yeah, it is
without
the chicken
chicken.
foot religion, though.
Yeah, the
Yeah, it
chicken
is the
foot
chicken foot
religion.
religion.
So
Yeah,
now
and the
they come on YouTube, just like with the colonization thing. Because some of these people, when they say this, they make it seem like, oh man, all of Africa, they were just they're killing people, dragging people. Like that's not what
right,
was going on.
right.
That's not
And
what was
and and
happening.
and and, and not only that though, I am proud that like some of us that we did fight for independence. I'm proud that um, my pops and Amilcar Cabral did engage in guerrilla warfare and fight for self determination because they had a
Right.
reason to fight for it. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the Haitian Revolution. I'm reading like multiple books on it to uncover the layers of that. I'm proud of that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like you can't say that after colonialization, some of the problems that happened were not in the hands of Africans, and it just all came from Europe. And let's just be hypothetical. Most of the time, even when Europeans did orchestrate like different things, there were willing and participating Africans in those orchestrations. So it
Oh, of
wasn't just
course.
like Europeans
Well, it
involved.
was it was
You
it
had
was
like yeah,
Europeans, the armies, um, even like you look at Nigerian, between the beef that's between Nigeria and Ghana, this is back even in 1900 when the British brought like, troops from Nigeria to fight the
right,
Ashantis in a fierce war.
right,
So this, like in
right,
Congo, they have the First Republic. They were bringing, troops from Senegal, Burkina Faso, from West Africa to
right,
come and subjugate the
right,
people there. And even in those countries, the people, the who were the police force, they were Africans themselves. It's the same police force. So people don't understand it. But I witnessed a conversation where, and sometimes these people, because of their fantasy and arrogance, they don't understand. They come off as being so rude. One of the guys, because he's
well,
Pan-Africanist,
brother, right,
just a sec, just a sec.
right, go
So they
ahead.
were they come off really rude. Was having a conversation with a South African and started saying, "Oh, it was us black people, that helped freed you guys." And the South African was very offended, as he should, you know, like, dude, he's like, "Are you out of your mind? How did you free us? Like, you're telling me our people fought and freed ourselves from the regime that was there. You are nowhere there. So just because you are somewhere in New York protesting, how is that similar to somebody on the battlefield? It's not the same thing, And I heard other Africans, like West
Right,
African, they speak on South Africa, and I'm confused. I was like, "You're from West Africa. Why are you obsessed with South Africa?" But I noticed these West Africans, some of them, mostly from Ghana or Nigeria, they are only obsessed
right,
with countries where white people are in charge of. Like, white people are there. They want to
right.
associate to that, but they're not focused on other countries that is completely similar to them. They want to associate themselves to that, to say, "Oh, we helped you. How did you help these people?" Just, that's an
Right.
insult to these people. They were there in the battlefield. It's just like somebody telling you that, "Oh, we're the ones that freed Guinea-Bissau, but your father and others were there on the ground fighting with the
Right,
Portuguese," and they say that to you. That would be
right.
an insult. And I hope this Pan-Africanists
Well,
would learn and stop insulting people's history.
well, the thing is too. This is the thing. Like, and I've seen this firsthand. I hate to say it, but I'm just gonna say it. A lot of the Pan Africanists happens because of their fetishisms for African people. Like there's this one girl, she's Pan Africanist, and she married a Senegalese man, and then she married the Senegalese man, had a kid by him, and then she the Bonquisha came out. At
Yeah,
first the Bonquisha was in disguise, but then the Bonquisha came out, and she gave that man hell, and now the daughter is disobedient. She doesn't like even listen to her father when she's around her father. She's very troublesome to the kid because the mother puts these ideas in her head. And personally speaking, like I've made it a point, not to mess with like Black American women who fetishize over African men because I see where it leads to. You know what I mean?
right.
And they have these weird ideas that like that's what it's about for them. It has nothing to do with the betterment of Africa, really. It really has to do with fulfilling their like lowly desires. It has nothing to do with like actually politically uplifting Africa and moving it ahead. That's why I don't like subscribe to it because when you look at guys like Sheikh Anta Diop and you look at guys like France Fanon, you look at guys like Maurice Bishop, they never called themselves Pan Africanists. They just let their
No,
actions speak they just let their actions speak. You know, they never like uttered those words. You know what I mean? So this is
Mhm.
how I look at it, and it's the same thing with the men. You know, the men like the men come into the Pan African sphere, and then like for example, this one guy, he's like, "Do you think you can hook me up with a Fulani sister?" And I said, "Well, I mean, you gonna have to do that work by yourself. I can't help you, you know." And he's like, "Oh, we're brothers and this, that, and the other." I'm like, "Well, you're on your own. I just said it like that. I'm not Mr. Matchmaker. You know, I don't care if you're wearing that Pan African banner or not. You know."
Right. Oh, let me answer Jiwaz Wadi. Jiwaz, Lincoln is not the only white man. America was actually late in abolishing slavery. The British abolished slavery in 1833, and they had their navy ships patrolling the Atlantic Ocean on the West Coast to stop people trying to smuggle slaves. So, no, I'm not talking about Lincoln. Lincoln's abolition, that's for America. That you know, didn't come till 1863 or so. The British uh, were fighting and stopped slavery in 1833, and they put their navy, you know, to actual work. And this is funny. Bernard wrote something which I heard also, which is funny. The Haitians and some Black Americans said they freed Ghana. I was like I've heard that, and I didn't even bother to respond to that because some of the people they don't even want to learn what the real history is. You don't have to try to infuse yourself in all these things. If you live in
Right,
America, you have no clue, zero clue about the culture of these places, what's going on, how you gonna free them from the most powerful army in the world at the time. No,
right. No,
Ghanaians free themselves, you know, from colonialism. Um, no outsider was there to help them.
right,
They did it on their
right.
own.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
because that was back in the 50s, because Ghana had their independence in 1958. So
Right,
that would mean, at the time, black people here, and even in America, weren't that free. So how would they have helped, Ghana? That would mean they would have to know about Ghana and actually go there. So I think some of these people are taking the Wakanda thing way too far.
well, not only that, one
Oh,
thing I
here,
do notice
Rashad,
about these Pan
Rashad, Rashad, Rashad said, "You guys are lying. You all know good and well if ADOS didn't fight, you all wouldn't be moving freely. Come on, okay, moving freely where?
so
What is he
yeah,
talking about?"
wait a minute. So Ados went to Haiti, Ados went to Angola, Mozambique, and they fought with the Portuguese too.
I
They went
guess.
to stop apartheid in South Africa too.
Hey, Bernard, hit the link. Come and have a discussion. Because I'm not understanding what you're saying. Because if you're saying what you're saying, if that is true,
Well, he can.
wait, if what he's saying that is true, then he is debunking their own history. Because if Ghana had its independence in 1958, okay, mind you, they had Jim Crow laws. Black people said they were subjugated at the time. How can you free people, other people, go help them when you yourself wasn't free? You would have to know about those people. How did they know about those people? She said, Afridamus, white people made millions, if not trillions, from cotton and sugar plantations. I wholeheartedly doubt they ever wanted slavery to end. Um, well, the slave owners in the South didn't want it to end.
Well,
I don't think
well,
trillions, that's an exaggeration. The prior to even 1860, slavery, the market was already, dying. It was inevitable for it to end anyways, because the industrial revolution started. Once the steam engine came, they started building industries. um, human labor cannot compete with machines. So even if they did not, fight that war, um, that market was bound to end. That system was bound to end anyways. It was going to collapse, either way, whether they fought the war or not. And I get that. Like, I understand people say no, it wasn't entirely fought over slavery. I get that, but why would you complain if that war led up to people being freed from slavery? I bet you people who were enslaved will not make that argument, but people who have never been enslaved will try to make those semantics argument, because they were not the ones, in slavery. So therefore, we'll be like, oh, these people, they just were fighting, they didn't do it for slavery. Hey, if the war freed me, who cares what their intention was? Like, if I'm locked up in a house, and I'm looking for my freedom, and somebody came and kicked the door down, even if their intention wasn't to free me, but them kicking that door open gives me the way to get out, you think I'm going to be sitting there trying to question what their intention is? I could care less. I'm free. That's all that matters to me, you know? But um, you would only do that in the comfort of your home. And I think some people, they speak about slavery or colonization again like it's a fantasy, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Well, you have to even understand um, the whites who were doing the enslavement and stuff like that. They themselves were not like from like well-to-do place, like well-to-do status. Like they were like some of the worst of the worst. You know what I mean? And, I mean, honestly, they were doing the groundwork for someone way bigger than they are. You know what I mean? Who just pretty much sat on the throne and collected the things of their hard labor. Now, granted, like when you go up the pyramid, yes, there were some wealthy slave owners, but the people who were actually capturing the slaves and doing that groundwork, they themselves were like looked at as the bottom of the bottom by their own people too. So, you know what I mean? They themselves were not in the position that many people think they were. You know what I mean?
It's funny. Audrey said, Afridamus, you don't know, brother. You think these Europeans are saints. I never said that. I don't know why you getting that impression. Rashad said, Afridamus, you guys owe us one. You really think you'll be in America if my people don't let you in? Who? You mean the white?
Sure.
You mean, is the white people your people now? Because last I checked, it
Yes.
was the
Yeah.
white people that let me in.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, and that's what I'm saying. So is he saying that like we didn't do the necessary paperwork and they just gave us a pass and said, "Oh, you guys can come right on in."
Well, I
When
don't
there's
think
been
he
after
understands.
when
He
there,
understands that's the problem is with many. They think with emotion. They don't even understand how the country, America, that they live in, they don't even understand how it works. If you notice, most of these people, you think they would go to say this to like even a Mexican immigrant or Russian. They seem to only come to you and I and say, "Oh, we're the reason because is that thing where, just because you're black and they are black, they are forcing it to make it seem like it's because of, you know, them that you came here. Africans are all the way in China, Japan, Korea, in European countries. There's no ADOS there. How did the Africans get
Right.
there? And even he tend to
Right.
forget that the slaves, the people who were enslaved in Africa, no, in America, they were Africans brought from Africa. So, like, what are you talking about? Africans have been coming here from the inception of the country. So, so what are you talking about? Of course, like, if you, Brandon, if you weren't alive and I'm alive, I'm more than likely I would still be in America. So there, I answered your question. But yeah, Africans have always been coming here. Don't forget, the people they brought here as slaves, they brought them from Africa. So I don't know what his point is. You know, it's not like all of a sudden, it's a completely different species. Yes, some have changed over time, mixtures, but it's still the same African that has been coming here, from 1619. But Fuller Sport, thanks for coming again. Looks like we're over 2 hours again. Hey, did you
Thank you
did you
for
ever
having
make that video?
I actually made two videos of that
Oh,
that
good.
that happened.
I received some more videos. I'm gonna, break them down,
Go over
and
them. Oh,
a lot of them
you're gonna
are
break
super crazy.
really you're gonna break them down.
Yeah,
Yeah, I may have to make another one of this scumbag because it's like, hey man, hey, they need to take heed, man, because they're making it the devil's playground if they let this guy do what he wants to do.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope, you've learned something here. And it was a great conversation. Fuller Sport, thank you for coming again. He always brings the fire as usual. He has lots of knowledge about the topics that we tackle over here. I mean, Rashad, I sent you the link. If you want to come in, that's cool. But I'm at the end of the program, anyways. We are part Aboriginal and Little West African. We don't even look alike. Okay, Bernard. Bernard, what tribe are you from? No, Brandon Rashad. You said you guys are Aboriginal, so I'm guessing you're saying you are a native Indian, Native American. Are you a Blackfoot Indian like myself? If so, put it in the link here. I think Audrey, you are misreading exactly. You're misreading everything I'm saying. I'm just stating the facts. So um, is the pros and the cons because many people are programmed, and conditioned. Even they would tell Africans themselves. I have seen this argument as, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like they want to explain what colonization is and all. You're like, no, that's not how it happened, you know. But it's easy for somebody who thinks Africa is one big country and you know things is the same all across Africa. I get that they probably think this is the same thing, but it really is not. Like King Leopold, what King Leopold was running out of Congo, that's more than colonization. That's almost like slavery, subjugating the people. He turned the place into his own personal colony. You know, I mean, they estimated he, killed about 10 million Congolese. He literally committed the first genocide. You could go read, I mean, as far as what the Europeans recorded, they were investigating him, and then First World War happened, you see. So I'm not here saying, oh no, these things didn't happen, but it didn't happen all over Africa. This is not the history. Just like South Africa's history is different from Ghana's history or Nigeria or Gambia's history. It's not the same thing. So we don't want to conflate things and try to make it seem like, oh yeah, because it happened on the African continent, you know, is the same. Like for instance, like, yeah, visionary of love, you're right. Like you have Hitler. Hitler came from Germany. Does that mean all the Europeans, from Switzerland, Holland, um, England, they did, their leaders did the same thing like Hitler? No, they didn't. So Audrey thinks I would argue in favor of Hitler. Well, if you want to debate about that, you can call in. I'm pretty sure, you would find some things he's done that are not so bad if you look past the killings, but that's not here or there. Ladies and gentlemen, that brought us to the end of today's program. I hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly did. I enjoyed breaking this down. And, to my Pan-Africanists out there, I'm just here to share, the true account and different perspective of what you are accustomed to hearing. Because over here at the Afridamus Report, I'm not about, selling you, fantasy, things that are not real. That's not what it's about. And I'm also not here to beat down on anybody, but rather to have dialogues. And it's okay for you to disagree with me. That's totally okay. This is why I always drop the link for people to come in and give their perspectives. Oh, you can drop your comments in the comment section. Well, people that get upset and take it so personal, before you take it so personal, take a good listen and then go stand in the mirror and take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, why am I getting upset at somebody speaking the truth? A man that is trying to, enlighten us on what the facts are. So you have to be open. Don't let your ego stop you from learning, because at the end of the day, life is about educating yourself non-stop. You can't stop. And the type of sentiment some people hold towards Africans, you need to drop that as well, because many are not going to admit it. And I have been saying this. They look down on Africans as if, oh, these Africans don't know what they're talking about. See, when you do that, you're making a big mistake, because there's plenty of Africans that watch these videos. They're around YouTube streets, they are watching these things, they are seeing it. This is why you see them give you the comments they are giving you. See, you don't want to, most Africans especially, you don't want to make them mad when you speak about Africans a certain way. Like, we are open to usually having discussions, but when you go out of your way to make it seem like you want to belittle Africans, then all bets are off. That's why you get so many people now, they challenge you the way they do, because you are not dealing with, stupid people, especially when you try to say, you're looking at somebody, talking to them as if they're idiots, as if they don't know their own history. You're like, oh, I'm going to tell you about your history. We freed you. We did this. We did that. Now, when you say things like that and you're challenged on this ignorance, you cannot be upset. As you can see in my breakdown here, I challenge these people, their video, the Kinganda video. I didn't insult them. I didn't personally attack them. I just broke it down because it's about that. It's about having discussion. Maybe, just maybe, I may know something they don't know because that's what it looks like. When they see this video and hear what I'm saying, they will learn from it. And many also that are watching right now, I'm sure have learned quite a bit. Even Audrey, who was out here saying, "Oh, Afridamos, the show is boring," but somehow she stuck around and enjoyed herself. So the show is not that boring after all. So I want to thank you all, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Anyways, I think I might do a follow-up. You guys remember the video I did yesterday? I received more and more receipts, and I'm debating if I mean, I've gotten more videos, and some of these videos are disturbing. I'm just being honest with you guys. Some of these videos are disturbing, but I will see. I'll make up my mind to see if I really want to put those up. If I'm going to, you guys would see it. And also, some of you that are fans of Black Sid Juliet, please, can you guys let her know to stop making phony accounts, coming into my account, into my comment section, trolling me. If you're going to troll somebody, at least change your language, and don't do it like clockwork. Every time I drop a video on you, you show up with the same phony account. And when I invite you to come to the show, the fans here want to hear your perspective, Juliet, if you watch this. But you're like, "Oh, I'm not going to give you views." I could care less. The fans want to hear what you have to say because they said I've made so many videos about you that they want to hear what you have to say. So if you respect the fans, you don't have to do it because of me. If you respect the fans, talk to the fan, come here and talk to them directly. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a wonderful one.